Now that we have discussed all the 5 prerequisites for material requirements planning, let's put them together into one graphic. So master production schedule gives us what are the end items that must be made, in what quantities, in what weeks. Now you take that as an input into the MRP computation. Then you have to bring in bill of materials and multiply the bill of materials with these quantities to figure out what the gross requirements are for each of the dependent items, and you have to do it in a structured way so you can compute the requirements of a parent before you compute the requirements of the child, because to compute the requirements of a child item you need to know how many units of the parent item must be made. So you have to do it in a systematic way. So here are the inputs that will come in. So you have the bill of materials coming in, and then you multiply that with master production schedule to figure out the gross requirements. And then from the gross requirements you need to take away the inventory that is already available. Inventory already available come from the stock available physically in store and the purchase orders that have already been placed, which are called the scheduled receipts. So once you net those two quantities out from the gross requirement, then what remains is the net quantity that must be made or bought now. Now you take the lead time information after that and then figure out when those quantities must be ordered so that they will be available when they need to be available. So this is the overall MRP structure, and outcomes reports. Once you make these computations, it'll give you the MRP by period, it'll give you the date report, and then you planned order report and what purchase orders to be placed, purchase order advices, and if the quantity to be ordered happens to be in the past, okay, that would be an exception situation, order early or late, and order quantities are too small or too large. There are some exception situations that may need special attention. So those reports will also be generated. So here is an example of how these gross requirements will be computed. So you have A made from B and C, S made from B and C, and then you have a need for B as it is. It may be you sell B as a spare part or something. So here are the requirements, master production schedule requirements for A, S and B, and then you compute the requirements for B. Okay, so you need in week 640 and you have a lead time of 4, so you have to order B. So this 40 units here and that 10 units, so 50 units and so on. So you'll have to bring in all the requirements for B. Okay, there are one parent here, and then by itself. Okay, all of that should be assembled in a proper way. So we'll work out an example, a more detailed example in just a bit. And then you have to net those gross requirement quantities. So gross requirements plus allocations, these are the independent demands. So you add those two, you get the total requirement, and subtract on hand and scheduled receipts. This is the available inventory, and that gives you net requirement, and then you apply lead time to get when it is to be ordered. So this is the record in which we will be doing the MRP computations. This is called MRP Planning Sheet. We'll work out examples of that also in the next few videos. Now there are some special situations or special considerations you have to take into account, and one of those is safety stock. So if you need safety stock, then you need to make sure that the projected on-hand inventory in the future is never below the safety stock. So consideration of safety stock must be taken into account and should be minimized or ultimately eliminated, because you're now calculating the requirements very precisely, so there shouldn't be any need for safety stock. But typically random things happen, so you have to protect against those random unexpected things that happen. So you need to make sure that it is not too high.